Hi, if you're new around here, I'm Max and this is Rose. She's a Mercedes-Benz 310D Luton van. She's also very rusty and needs a lot of work. I plan to do most of the welding and repairs myself to get her through the first MOT in 5 years. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to come along for the ride. So, welcome back to another video. So, I've done a couple of things. I fitted an awning to the back of my van. Thank you to Gap Adventures. Thanks to you guys for the awning. I fitted it, I was too impatient and I didn't record it. I mean, it's an awning. It's really good though, I'll show you in another video. So, you are currently sat on the chassis of the van. Obviously not that van, that's a cool van. That's older than this van and on the road. Yes, I hope my van will be on the road when it's that old. Anyway, moving on. So this video is going to be about cleaning up the chassis. Step one is, I believe it's Wednesday today. My watch is over there, it fell off. So step one is going to be jet wash the chassis. Now I wasn't going to do it because I didn't want to fill it with water, but at the end of the day, it's quite mild at the moment. It's sunny. I'm actually in a t-shirt. Speaking of t-shirts, go check out the Wood Monkey, the Beechwoods, and Liam the Terrible. If, of course, you probably know them by now, but he's got merch, and it's very cool. Nice t-shirts as well. So yeah, and a print on the back as well. I've been lying in the floor, so excuse the dirt on the back. I just decided to tighten up my handbrake cable because it was it was quite high, and in the process of doing so, sheared off the handbrake cable from the thread on the handbrake cable because they were so rusted together you were never going to get them apart. I sprayed them with WD-40 yesterday, lots of it, and yeah, no hope. So new handbrake cable. Anything that can rust is rusty, put it that way. Chassis, same as what I knew basically. I've had the van that long now, what, nearly 6 months? No, got it in April. May, June, July, August, September, 5 months. I think I've had a good look at the chassis by now. It is a bit windy today, good test for the box, although as I say, I've fitted the awning and I've been jumping around in the box. It's dead sturdy. If you didn't watch last week's video of taking off the box, that was one interesting video for sure. So go check the video up in the card up here. That was good, but yeah, we were all hesitant as to how stable it was just on those little 4 stands, and I'm dead confident. And I sat in the Luton box just in the bit over the cab, which isn't supported, about 10 minutes ago, for the first time, and that's dead sturdy, so I'm probably going to sleep back in the box again. Right, so chassis is just as holy as I knew, and yeah, so just get on with it really. But yeah, today is jet wash the chassis and the cab because it's so dusty, grind back the whole of the chassis, and I probably won't get it painted today, but I'd like to get 1 coat of red oxide on it. It's going to rain on Sunday I think, so I'd like to get all this done before the rain, and that way the whole chassis is then treated and won't get any worse, and then I just need to concentrate on the bits that are bad, and when I weld them up I will put some red oxide. Well, I say red oxide, it's not, nowhere on the tin does it say red oxide, as I've said, but if you're new, there are a lot of new people coming on. The paint I use is Rust-Oleum 769, I'll put a picture of it up here. It's really good primer. If you read the description I'll put a link in the description to the paint. If you read the description of the paint, you'll just understand that it's amazing. It extracts moisture from the metal, so you can apply it in damp conditions. I mean, what more do you want? You know, if you're gonna be doing all this work on a chassis, on a rusty old Merc that is bound to rust again, you might as well spend the money and give it that little bit extra chance that it might take a bit longer to rust. So the plan is 3 coats of that eventually, and then 2 coats of the chassis black from the Paints for Trade website, which is where a lot of people get the military paint, which I've also bought for the box, and I'll be painting the back side of the box before the box goes back on, because otherwise it will still be blue. And yeah, I believe I gave a colour giveaway already, but it's a shade of green. It's a very dark shade of green, and I really like it. So yeah, painting it on there is going to be the first test. It won't be the whole box because it's in the trees at the moment, and you can't paint in trees because it would just rub the paint off. So it'll be painted at a future date, weather dependent. Could be this year, could be next year, but the bulkhead will be painted. And this bulkhead is going grey. I was considering grey or black. The reason black is just to future-proof it, just in case I ever want to change the colour of the van. A lot of people like the grey now, so I'm probably just going to keep it grey. But if I were to ever change it, then the back would obviously be grey. But I don't have any black paint, and I do have lots of grey paint, so that's what's decided the colour for me. So back of the cab will be going grey, and the roof of the cab will be going grey, and that way we'd have a nice smart grey cab and a nice red chassis to start off with just one coat. And as I go, I'll coat everything that I weld, and once everything's welded up, everything will get a second and a third coat, and then the chassis black. So that's the plan for the chassis, if you were interested by any means at all. But yeah, so let's get the jet wash out and start jet washing this chassis. So, good morning everyone. Bit of a pain in the arse. Basically what happened, the jet washing scene was quite short, as you saw. Now, I started time-lapsing it and thought, oh, I know what would be quite cool. If I put it next to the jet wash, the camera, and sort of do like a from the jet wash perspective, not even from my perspective. So I was there, and I did that, and then I was about to put it down and put it on for a time lapse again. It said memory card full. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. At least I got that. No, turned out the memory card was full at the beginning of that shot. Never mind. You can all imagine what jet washing was like. I'll stick this clip in that I filmed for Instagram. I don't even think I've uploaded it for Instagram yet. But anyway, I'll stick that in now. Jet washing the van. I'm not sure this is supposed to happen. Oh dear. Yeah. So yeah, big hole in the chassis, quite useful for cleaning the inside of the chassis. Anyway, so today's task is grinding back the chassis, which is not something I've been looking forward to, but it's got to be done, isn't it? Today's task is no, already done that, is grind back the whole chassis and paint it with one coat of red oxide. And I also did that. Yep, I painted it. Oh, and if you can tell, I've now installed my old microphone again, just with a standard aux cable, but I need to get another microphone cable because this one's very bulky. Well, there you are. So the roof's painted, and then the back of the van's painted. Look at that. Now, eagle-eyed viewers may know whose van this is similar colour to, or the same colour, just in satin. I gotta admit, the satin's amazing. I cleaned out the roller up there to use it today, and a couple of grey splatters went here, so that's why it doesn't look the grass. But it needs a second coat anyway, because it's a bit thin, like for example there and stuff. So second coat going to go on later today. So lots of painting happening, but that's really smart. I gotta admit, I love the satin. And you can't really see any roller marks. This line here was where they previously sprayed the blue, so the box has been resprayed blue at some point. I mean, you can tell because they added these in, and these weren't original. So I think it was the Roy's removal people that added the wooden racking on the inside. Well, yeah, all painted, and I gotta admit, the satin's so smart. I regret not doing the grey in satin, if I'm honest with you. It's just going to be a time lapse. I'm going to time lapse this whole chassis because you've seen me do all the welding at the front and everything. This is all just going to be time lapses, and at the end of this, I'm going to try and find all the time lapses I've done over the build and compose them into one and do a sort of time lapse. I haven't really planned it very well because some people obviously do a time lapse of their whole build. I haven't really, or this in case restoration, I haven't really done enough time lapses to make it seem consistent, but I'll try my best and see what happens. But that'll be at the end when I've got time. Now it's been a couple of days since I last spoke to you, and as you can see the chassis is looking quite nice. It might look like it's all painted, but it's not. Places like there, for example, are not painted, and the bottom of the chassis is not painted. I just did the majority of it because it was going to rain, and it had also it was getting dark and it was scheduled to rain about then, and then halfway through I was painting it started raining, so then I had to set up a tarp. So I didn't film any of that because it would have just been more faff that I didn't need to think about. My friend also came over at the weekend, the day I was grinding back the chassis, probably the last time I spoke to you I think, and we decided to change the windscreen, so we took that out on Saturday, and then Sunday he came back around again and we started to fit the new one. But that didn't go to plan. Well, you'll have to see till next week's video, but I'm sure you can guess. But yeah, anyway, that put a massive halt on the chassis, which meant I didn't get it painted before it rained, so I was there doing it on Sunday night when it was scheduled to rain all day Monday, which it did. It's now Wednesday, the 28th of September, so obviously this van is not going to be done for the 1st of October, and it's probably not going to be done for the South Central, so I'm really sorry to everyone who was looking forward to see Rose. Sometimes the South Central do a little New Year's meet, so she should be there. I'll be pretty annoyed if she's still not MOT'd by then. Yeah, but here she is, still looking looking much better now. She's sort of mostly one colour, but there's still a lot of ground back and not ground back stuff. So I'm going to finish grinding bits back. I didn't get the drill out before with the wire wheel on the drill to get in the corners, so I'll be doing all that. So yeah, I'll just put you on a bit of a time lapse. We'll paint the chassis, and then that'll be the end of this video because that is cleaning up the chassis. Okay, so good afternoon everyone. I've had a couple of slow days, but I've still been doing things. So 2 days ago I finished painting the chassis and grinding it all back, and that was an absolute nightmare. I broke one of these wire brush on the drill things. It just split in two. Another thing I did though with my friend when he was over is this. We put a nice thick, like 25mm squared cable on the Welder earth, because before it had like the standard one it came with, which was only like a 10mm cable, and it was so old, and the crimp connection, the crocodile clip was really bad. It used to warm up and sort of melt. So now with the better earth I should have much better welds, because there'll be just so much better connection. And my friend did a little test on a little bit of metal that we took off the van, and without gas connected, and it worked a treat, and it worked better than when I was welding with gas with the old earth cable. And this one is like 2 meters long, so I can have it connected to the chassis over there and be welding over here, whereas before it was about 50 centimeters long, so I'd literally be next to it. The other thing we did was build this, which is, well, didn't really build it, just ratchet strapped the welder and the gas bottle to this frame here, which is like just a trolley frame thing, and on jockey wheel things, I don't know what they're called. And now I can just drag the welder around, and it's got nice big wheels, which is good for this sort of multi-terrain garden. So if you did like this video and you want to see the welding, then make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment down below, and let me know what you think about the video, and make sure you subscribe if you're not already, and if you are subscribed, make sure you ding that bell, and I'll see you next week.